Hello, my friends. Good evening to everyone. We are in our third class in this session of 5 classes that I'm presenting about Kabbalah. My intention in these presentations is to have an idea of what Kabbalah is and what does Kabbalah deal with. Because we hear about Kabbalah a lot today, but we don't necessarily have a profound understanding. That is why the first class was about Kabbalah and the 72 holy names, to understand how to meditate, what is meditation, and what is Kabbalistic meditation. And of course, we spoke about the 72 holy names that are codes, cosmic codes, that we can use in order to expand our consciousness, and also in order to interact with what we call cosmic energy. And then we had another lecture about astrology. Tonight, I'll be talking about Kabbalah and reincarnation. As we can see, we understand that these subjects were a bit marginalized, abandoned, and even they became like superstition, astrology, reincarnation. Who believes in reincarnation today? We're so busy in our day-to-day life and all the commitments that we have to do, and our family, our work, and we're so overwhelmed, even with stress, that we hardly have any open-mindedness to consider studying, learning about astrology, about reincarnation. But we have to understand that all that we are going through has an explanation. Those among us who prefer not to think, okay, we're not here to bother anyone. But any thinking person, any person who uses his or her intelligence to try and understand life, understand the processes of life, what we're all going through. And the main question is, why? Why do we exist? Yeah. It's a big question that a person may say, hey, I work, I eat, I pay my bills. Oh, that's the why of my existence. And I must say that personally, this bothers me. Because then we forget about our essence, who and what we are. And we are not robots, we are not animals, we are human beings. Even though the pressure of day-to-day life may cause us to forget the essence of our being, Kabbalah is always there at hand. Kabbalah is not a religion, we say that many times. We don't preach. We don't try to convince anybody that Kabbalah is true or not true. But what we try to offer, when I say we, I refer to all the sages of the Kabbalah for thousands of years, is this wisdom and also some spiritual tools that can help us overcome these moments of aggression, these moments of despair, of depression, and also to understand what does it mean to be happy. Nowadays, the only way that we can, be happy is maybe go to a bar, go to a restaurant, go to a wedding, an occasion, a family occasion, and there we are, just chatting and drinking and eating, just trying to forget our problems. But then the event is over, the happy occasion is over, and we open our eyes again, and then the same reality that we were trying to avoid for a few hours comes back. And there it goes again. A cat and rat race. And are we rats in a maze, running around, just to have a nibble of a piece of cheese? Is that what we are? And this is what Kabbalah wants to touch upon. Again, for those people who are still contemplating, thinking, analyzing the meaning of our lives. Why are we born? Why do we live? Why do we die? For thousands of years, we believe that yes, it was God. God, he decreed that man should die, and that's it. But again, accepting that decree of such a God is a very hard issue. People who believed in God blindly for thousands of years had to accept this reality. On the other hand, we have the scientific mind that came to free us from this blind faith of mankind, of religion, of religiosity, and tyranny, even religious tyranny, and so on. But after many centuries of scientific research, that, by the way, I want to remember remind us all, that the first scientists who came to the world, they came and appeared and said, enough of this blind faith. We have to find out the reason of our existence. It's not only about technology. Yes, science has become very technological. So a lot of technology in science. And we think about science as being a science of technology. But no, science is way, way beyond technology. And we see that for the last many centuries, science has changed, and the vision of the world, the universe, the mechanism of this creation of the universe also changed. But again, the universe didn't change. What we see is the evolution and the change of the mind of the scientists and the mind of mankind. So our mind has evolved. And when I talk about our mind, I'm not talking about the brain. So a lot of people think that the brain is the source of our thinking, and the human being is no more than chemical and electrical impulses and biological influences that affect our being, and that's it. We are born, we don't know why. We live, we don't know why. And we die, and we don't know why. Now, for those among us who can live in such a way, yes, the Kabbalah is not here to bother them and say, oh, you have to wake up, you have to think. But for those among us who feel disturbed by these questions, by this state of mind or lack of state of mind or lack of mindfulness, well, here is where the Kabbalah comes in. So tonight, let's talk about reincarnation. For centuries, religions, they neglected reincarnation, and they condemned reincarnation as something which is heretical. It is heresy. Oh, you can't believe in reincarnation. Why? Yeah, God created the human being, and we have to live according to God's will. And when God wants us to die, yeah, we die. If we have to go through an illness, yeah, okay, 5, 10 years, I have to be sick and suffer, and then die. And that's it. But something inside every single one of us, every single one of you who are listening to this class, this lesson, knows that we can't accept this reality. Yes, in the past, maybe 50, 80 years, science and technology and medicine and all the advance in science and technology has helped us to live a healthier life, to live longer. But the question is again, oh, I want to live longer. We all want to stay alive for as long as possible. But what's the purpose? Why prolong the suffering of a person using more medication and more technology when a person who falls sick, God forbid, God forsake, may suffer only for 2, 3, 4 months or 6 months, and well, go. And a lot of questions, difficult questions, we have to face in our generation. Longevity is a known fact. We take it for something guaranteed. We all want to live 80, 90, even 100 years. And even in scientific research, they say that the person who will live till 150 years is already born, he already exists. Not one person. That means it may be a whole generation. So when we come to think not only about the quantity of life, the quantity of our years, but we also want to think about the quality. Okay, we want to live longer, but we don't want to prolong our suffering as we depart from this world. So many questions appear in our mind. Well, reincarnation, does it exist? Who can prove that, yeah, we have a soul? But again, if we call it a soul, cosmic energy, it doesn't matter what we call that thing that keeps us alive. But it's not only about keeping us alive, but our soul consciousness, exactly as we said, soul consciousness. So it brings to our brain, to our mind, our consciousness. We are conscious of what we are going through. We are aware of what is happening. We may not have all the answers to what's happening and why. We may not be able to maybe even reach all the answers, but the questions are there. And if I may quote Rabbi Ashlag, again, a great Kabbalist of the 20th century, in the 19th, the end of the 19th and the 20th century, he describes the human behavior. That we have those moments where we start thinking about life, about death, about our existence. We try to look for answers, but immediately all the thoughts of the day-to-day life come back and say, hey, you have no time to think, you have no time to contemplate, you have to work, you have bills, you have to buy, you have to sell, you have this, you have that, you have the other, take out the garbage, wash the dishes, and so on and so on and so on. Kids and family. Yes, we have all these. We can say even it's a great blessing. But we can't keep on going, living our day-to-day life without answers. And maybe living in such a state of lack of mindfulness is the source of our suffering, of our torment. Yes, we are being tormented every day by these questions, but we don't allow them to surface. We don't have time. Well, that is why I'm dedicating my time, my life, for the purpose of sharing the wisdom of Kabbalah and sharing every once in a while my own experiences. How can we prove that reincarnation exists? Well, the only way to prove is to experience past lifetimes. There are many skeptical people who say, oh, nobody went to the other side and came back to tell us that the other side exists, or that paradise exists, or that hell exists. So then we shove away all these thoughts and say, hey, that's it. But my friends, I'm here to tell you that not one, not 10, not 100, but thousands of people have gone through this passage from this existence, physical existence, to the other side, and maybe miraculously, they came back. And this is what, again, the doctors or the scientists, the physicists, they call as clinical death. and the physicians as well. Clinical death. What is clinical death? But from our point of view, a person may have a heart attack or any other issue, an accident, a severe accident, and the person dies clinically, which means for 4 minutes, yeah, I wonder why 4, not 3 or 10, but there's 4 minutes, the brain did not receive oxygen, did not receive the blood that it needs in order to be alive, be a part of this function. So after 4 minutes, if a person doesn't come back, well, that's it. He is condemned or determined as a person who went through clinical death. And then the doctor comes, he signs the death report, and that's it, or death certificate. That's just why he died. Yeah, natural causes. That's the main reason of death. Natural causes. That means there was no crime, there was no other reason that needs any investigation or criminal investigation. So, natural causes. So, it's natural. Okay, that's another issue. But to our surprise, and the surprise of many doctors and physicians and scientists, it happens that these people who were determined as dead, they came back to life. Not only after 4 minutes, it can happen after half an hour, 6 hours, even a whole day, even many days. And once upon a time, those people who came back, they were, well, first and foremost, they were frightened from their own experience. But more importantly, they were frightened to tell other people about their experience. Why? Yeah, he came back to life, but he's afraid now to be condemned as a lunatic, as a person who lost his mind. And people did not believe their stories for thousands of years. Even people who started talking about the afterlife, they were even threatened by the church, by religion, or religious authorities. Oh, we must not talk about that. How come a person comes back? That's impossible. You die, that's it. You go to the day of judgment, God judges you, and from then on you go out into paradise, or you burn for all eternity and damnation in hell. Well, that's it, end of story. And these people start to say, no, it's not like that, it's different. Can we imagine the reaction? But recently, in our generation of openness, less religious tyranny and persecution, a lot of people came back and they shared their experience. And not only that, they wrote books. When I entered the Kabbalah over 40 years ago, the first books started to appear. And with the title, Life After Death. And a person there, he described his own experience, what happened, how he came back, how was he revived, and all his memoirs of the afterlife. But gradually, those people who, again, the number only got bigger and bigger, started writing books with a different title, Life After Life. Life after life. So this change of consciousness was a big step, even a quantum leap, to understand that death is not the final point or the final scenario or the final issue. So here we are, through the understanding of reincarnation, we're trying to expand our perception of ourselves, of our being, our soul. Where do we come from? What happened in my past lifetimes? What can I do in this lifetime to improve not only my physical existence, but my spiritual existence? If eventually we're all, again, condemned to die, what's the purpose of living and working so hard and aspiring and dreaming and being ambitious and what for? There's no reason. You can just pack up everything and, just, hey, let's enjoy life. And really, I ask these questions many times. But I know that there is a continuation to our life here on earth on a different level, a different life. That through reincarnation, we're able to understand, acknowledge, and even take part in this process. So let us hear what these people had to say or have to say. So they describe the moment of their death. It can be on the table of the operation, it can be in an accident, it can be at home, wherever. But that moment of death or physical death, there was something that came out of their body. And that person was able to see himself, not as we see ourselves in a mirror, but see themselves from the other point of view. I mean, from another point of view, from another person's point of view. It's as me looking at me, myself, through your eyes. Well, and a person starts to question, well, what happened? How do I see myself, on the deathbed or on the road there? I can see I'm all blood, I went through an accident. I see it. I see myself, I see my body there, but from outside. Not only that, the issue of consciousness. So even though the body went through a trauma and is clinically dead, the consciousness, our consciousness, does not die. We continue to exist. And our consciousness sees all the people, the doctors, the ambulance, or whatever, the family, the friends that come, all the panic, the turmoil, everything that happens, they're aware. And at that moment, that person, the consciousness, tries to speak with their friends, their family, the doctor, and say, oh, no, I'm here. Listen to me. I'm alive. I exist. But of course, nobody can hear that person speaking. And then the person, what happened here? Did I die? Am I dead? Yes, they come to a realization that this disconnection between the body and the consciousness, the soul consciousness, this disconnection is the moment of dying. But a person says, but I'm here, I'm still conscious, I'm still aware. And again, from then on, many descriptions. Some souls, they meet other departed souls of their family, friends, that come to receive that person, to help them in this transition from one state of consciousness to another state of consciousness. And a person realizes, oh, but you're here, but you were dead, my friend. Oh, I see my grandmother. Oh, my grandfather. Oh, my great uncle that I knew as a child. He comes to receive, to give me welcome. And then we realize that we're in different consciousness, different level of existence. Again, there are many details of people going here, coming back, but the main issue is this transition from one state of consciousness to another state of consciousness. And these people have already departed. They come to help us, to accompany us, to go through this process. The next stage, there are many stages, is the tunnel. And people see themselves in front of a tunnel. It can be a dark tunnel. It can be a tunnel in the form of a spiral. There are many visions of this tunnel. And the person goes, the consciousness goes through this tunnel. And then a light appears at the end of the tunnel. That's the origin of the saying, to see the light at the end of the tunnel. And this light, which is not a physical light, they try to explain this light. It's not a light of a bulb, it's not a light of the sun, it's something else. It's light with consciousness. It's light that brings with it love and care and compassion. And that person feels embraced with all the love of that light, a very comforting feeling. And then there's a dialogue between the light and the consciousness. It's like, hey, come here, come closer. There are many questions that appear at that moment. But then a main question appears. Do you want to continue? I suppose those who answered yes did not come back, at least in that incarnation. But many people said, no, I don't want to go forward. And at that moment, they woke up. I have a friend here in Brazil. He was a lecturer in a great university. He is still a writer, an author of many, many books about Brazilian literature, poetry, and he gave lectures for many, many years in the university. But he went through a heart attack. And he died. But he did not die completely. They were able to, put him on tubes and all the technology and keep his body alive. But his brain was not reacting. He was in coma. He was in a coma for 6 months. 6 months. And he came back. And when he came back, he started talking about his experience. But for him, these 6 months, went by like 6 minutes, not even that, 6 seconds. So it was like a experience beyond time. And when he came back, he remembered all of his experiences. And he had many, many experiences on many, many levels and dimensions of consciousness. And he accepted his mission, the mission of his soul, to give lectures on the afterlife, on reincarnation. Because again, he wasn't speaking of an experience in an experiment in a laboratory. He was talking about his own life, his own live experience, and all that he went through to explain all these dimensions and what the soul goes through as it departs from the body. And when he came back, he woke up and he started speaking. One thing that he changed in his life was he stopped lecturing in the no, there's no point for that. I want to give lectures on spirituality, on reincarnation, and he even started learning Kabbalah in order to understand how to translate or transmit all these concepts that are beyond our physical reality in Kabbalistic terms. And this is one of the reasons that we learn Kabbalah, because the Kabbalah language helps us to organize our mind and transmit, understand, translate subconscious experiences that we may experience even in our lifetime without having to go through clinical death. Things that are way, way deep in our subconscious mind. So whether it was Freud or Carl Jung or other psychoanalysis or psychologists or whatever, therapists, they talk about the subconscious mind. They talk about that dimension in our mind, even in our brain, that carries memories from past lifetimes. But the conclusion of clinical death and what we call as clinical death, and by the way, there's a great scientific company in the States that has been doing a lot of research about clinical death, and people who went through clinical death in a very scientific manner, in order to establish whether it is a true experience or it is a hallucination or maybe an influence of a trauma, because that's how many people related to these people who started speaking and said, "Oh, you poor guy, you went through a very profound trauma, and now you're talking all kinds of gibberish about, dimensions and the tunnel and the light and so on. Oh, no, this doesn't exist." No, my friends, it exists. And these are the proof. So the proof is not in the laboratory. The proof is in the person. These people came back. They, in a sense, resurrected. And they talk to us. Now the question is, if we want to heed to their words, listen, and even, say, hey, why not? Could be. But in any case, it happened, it happens, and it will continue happening. Another point of view from the Kabbalah is, of course, reincarnation, and a great sage of Kabbalah. His name is Rabbi Isaac Luria, a Kabbalist from the 16th century, who appeared in one of the most darkest moments of the Middle Ages, the Dark Ages. Ignorance, nearly complete ignorance, took over. This black, very black cloud of ignorance took over most of mankind. And this sage appeared and started teaching Kabbalah in a city called Sfat or Safed in Israel. And he wrote a book about reincarnation. It's called The Gate of Reincarnation or Reincarnations. By the way, there's a translation into English that I did, and I'll be bringing this book, not many, maybe 2 or 3 books, when I come to visit in New York in the month of June. I'll be sharing with you also the dates and what I intend on doing. Giving a course on Kabbalah, where we can learn this language, this cosmic language, this universal cosmic language. When I talk about universal cosmic language, I'm also talking about the universal and collective subconscious mind that Carl Jung talked a lot about, where we can transcend the limitations of our 5 senses and interact with our subconscious mind. We may ask why. Well, from not only the Kabbalah point of view, but also from the psychoanalysis point of view and other points of view, our subconscious mind is about 90% of our mind. What we call the conscious mind is only about 5 to 10%. So in daily life, what we use to, well, drive a car, to go shopping, to buy and sell and interact on the computer, whatever, we're using only 5 to 10% of our mental capacity. That is why we have to learn about mindfulness. What is mindfulness? Mindfulness is the ability to join, to unite my subconscious mind with my conscious mind. Now, can we, again, imagine a computer, even a computer, who uses only 5 or 10% of its capacity? That computer will just throw to the trash. It's garbage. Our computer that uses at least 80, 90, if not 100% of its capacity. So we are human beings, so we use only 5, 10%. What about our subconscious mind? Well, for those among us who are adventurous and would like to adventure and understand the subconscious mind, and why is it subconscious? Well, it's sub because it is hidden. It is not theirs. Close to reach. We have to meditate, we have to contemplate. That is why a lot of us suffer from fears that we cannot explain. There are people who are afraid to enter into an elevator. There are people who are afraid from the ocean. Oh, afraid of swimming, afraid of the water, afraid of spiders, and so on. Well, depends on the size of the spider. If it's a small spider, okay. But there are people who just enter into panic when they see any kind of spider. Big ones, I understand. And so on. So how can we explain this phenomena? Not only that, we can see children, 5, 6, 7 years old, playing the piano. We say, wow, how could that be? Such a talent. That person said, but how old is that person? Oh, he's only 6 years old. How much time did he have to learn to play piano so well, so perfect? Well, one of the explanations is past lifetimes. So it's not only about dying and the life after life. We're also talking about past lifetimes, our past. In Hinduism, they talk about the Akashic records. That every person has like an archive where all his past lifetimes are registered. Most of us don't know how to access our Akashic records, the memory of our past lifetimes. Well, maybe that memory is hidden in our subconscious mind. I say maybe, just, for us to think, it's a way of talking. I don't want to be a person who decrees, oh, the subconscious mind is so. No, but it's open to us. We have to find out if what I'm saying is true or not. I can share my own experience. So there is a possibility that once we contact our subconscious mind, we shall be able to access our Akashic records, our Akash, our memories from past lifetimes. Now, a person will say, hey, don't I have enough problems in this lifetime? I have to remember past lifetimes. Well, that's it, my friends. our soul has been reincarnating for not centuries, for thousands of years. Can we imagine the experience, the knowledge, the wisdom that our souls have accumulated throughout thousands of years? It's like a treasure, a hidden treasure, or a safe with billions of dollars there that I don't know the password. Can we realize the frustration? Hey, I have a big safe here. I have billions of dollars there, but I don't know the password. Well, these are the cosmic codes that the Kabbalah teaches us, how to access our subconscious mind. Not only to, retrieve all the billions of dollars there or treasure, but also to go through a process of self-acknowledgement, self-recognition. There are many moments in our life where we say, I don't recognize myself anymore. I don't know who I am anymore. I'm so involved, I'm so sucked up, sorry for the word, in all what's going on, that I'm lost. I'm lost. Well, yes, in a sense, we are all lost. We all go through these moments of life. But it's only the person who feels lost that starts to search and look for his real self. Other people may panic and say, I can't take it anymore. And they may take drugs or just forget about themselves and just say, hey, I'm lost, and that's what it is, and continue being lost. I can say that 99% of all humanity is completely lost. And once we come to this realization that we are lost and we are being guided by other people who are also lost, how can we expect any goodness, any future, any hope? Yes, my friends, the gravity of our situation is way beyond our expectation or imagination. So that is where the Kabbalah comes in and says, okay, you lost your self. That self that you lost is a false identity that you created since you were born, or was created for you by your parents, by your education, by your religion, by this, by that, by your profession. And eventually, that is a false identity. It's not the true identity. Our true identity comes from the beyond, from the soul consciousness. So once we try to recover our true identity, that is the moment where we can go through a process of spiritual awakening, where I understand that I am already a divine, eternal being who's going through a process of a human body, human experience. And that is how we can transcend the moment, transcend the momentarily problem or crisis or trauma, and access, yes, our subconscious mind, and start a process of healing ourselves from trauma, crisis, from fears, and so on and so on and so on. So all this, all these obstacles are already inside us. If a person going through a crisis, it can be an emotional crisis, it can be a mental crisis, or a business crisis, relationship. That crisis has a reason. Nobody's out there to punish us. There is the law of cause and effect. So I may have done something wrong to my partner. It can be my business partner, my family partner, or whatever it may be, or in general. I did something wrong. And now I'm here in order to, what we call in the Kabbalah, to correct or to rectify, to amend that wrongful deed that I may have caused to myself, to other people. And that is why I'm going through this crisis. I can go through therapy, I can go through even past lifetime regression, and so on and so on. There are many, even hypnotherapy, there are many ways. But as long as I am active in this search of my true self, I will never be lost. I will never feel this sensation of desperation. And if I may go through that process of, well, desperation, at least I have some keyword or meditation, a tool that can help me recover or transcend that momentarily desperation and catch the next wave. In general, Rabbi Joseph in this book of reincarnation, he says that our generation has reincarnated as a group of souls for many times. Our generation, which is a group of souls, we have appeared in the age of Atlantis, which correlates to the story of the Great Flood in the Bible. Yes, the Bible doesn't use Atlantis because Atlantis is an ancient Greek word. That's Plato. He visioned, he saw this great civilization. And it talks about its location. But again, what's important is not the physical location, the physical proof. Oh, I found a rock from the age or from the civilization of Atlantis. What will that rock do? We go to the moon, we come back with rocks and sand. If you want to go to Mars, come back with rocks and sand. Don't we have enough rocks and sand here on Earth? Yeah, well, maybe it's a bit different. Maybe there are minerals there that we want to exploit to become billionaires, and so on and so on. And this is the obsession. And we can see what this obsession leads to. Our own self-destruction and self-annihilation. So the civilization of Atlantis, again, in the language of the Bible, it's Noah and the Ark, which are all codes. And we have to learn how to decipher these codes in order to awaken our subconscious mind and bring all our spiritual genetic memories into our conscious mind to remember. So, in a few words, what Kabbalah helps us is exactly in this point. It heals us from our amnesia, forgetfulness. You cannot reach mindfulness when you are infected with forgetfulness. There's no way. And that is the process of spiritual awakening, where we start remembering the true reality of ourself, our soul, of the universe. And that is where we come out of this, again, black cloud of ignorance. And we start, well, shining and okay. So we are the generation of Atlantis. We are the generation of Babylon. We are the generation of ancient Egypt that reached the peaks of wisdom, of knowledge. We are the same generation that went through two great disasters, which is the destruction of the first Holy Temple in Jerusalem and the second. And now we're here again. So what changed? Well, that's the question. The question is, did we learn from our mistakes of the past? Or do we condemn other generations, other civilizations as being primitive, being very ignorant, and we are the most intelligent civilization or generation on earth? In one sense, yes, we are, thanks to the process of our reincarnation. So now we are more open to spirituality, to Kabbalah, to the wisdom of what? The wisdom of the truth, the eternal truth that is inside everyone single us, every one of us. And now we come to the errors. Yes, nobody is here for the first time. Nobody. We all went through many, many lifetimes. We all have our cosmic debt that we came here to pay, to get rid of. I don't want to carry life as a burden. I want to enjoy life. Life was not created to suffer. Life was created for us human beings to enjoy, to live a fruitful life, a life of fulfillment, a life of health, a life of joy, friendship. And now that we're living longer, we want to enjoy life even more. But if we fall ill at the age of 60 or 70, or we go through life with depression and anguish, we come to a point where we ask, what's the point of continue living? Unless we go through a process of self-healing, self-recovery. And then, yes, we understand why we are here, why we exist. What's our cosmic debt? I say, okay, I have a cosmic debt. Okay, I'll pay it off. Now, cosmic debt may sound very heavy, but it's like receiving every month the bill of electricity, the electric bill. What will happen if we don't pay the bill 2-3 months? Yeah, the bill will only increase. But then come a day when the electric company will say, I'm sorry, you don't pay your bill. Lights are off, no more light. So that's what happens. We live our life, we don't want to pay the bill. No, I'm here just to do this, to do that, to grab, to take, to achieve. Nothing of giving, nothing of sharing, nothing of consciousness. How long can that last? It can last for 30 years, 40, 50, 80 years, until the electric company, cosmic electric comes and says, hey, no more, lights off. Death. So death is a consequence of a life, of a long life, a wasted long life of ignorance, of rejection, of self-negation, where we reject our own self, our true consciousness. Now, what to do with your meditation? That's a great. Oh, we have a question. Yes, Milene, you can open your microphone. Thank you. Yeah, I'm asking to unmute. Yeah, you can open your microphone. I can't hear you.
Okay.
No.
Okay. Rabbi, I would like to understand something that you say. When we die or we are in this moment of the transition,
Yeah.
you mentioned that we see tunnel, and then I don't know someone, if it is God, what is request, ask, do you want to move forward and someone, or maybe I don't know, if we say no, come back to this world where we are at this moment, but we come back as a baby, or we come back as the life that we are living at this moment. This is when we come back as reincarnated. That's this.
Yes.
This
Yeah,
is, I understood it
yeah.
correctly?
Yeah, I mean, the soul or the consciousness comes back to that person who already exists. It can be 30 years old, 50 years old. He comes back, or the consciousness comes back to that person. No, it does. It's not an incarnation. It's a kind of resurrection. A
I
person is
understand.
clinically dead, and he comes back to life. Yeah.
If I choose to move forward,
Well, that's it. Those people who said yes and moved forward, well, they went on. Yes,
and
then
they will never come back again.
no, not never. They will have to go through a process on the metaphysical dimensions until they are ready again to reincarnate. And then they may be born again as babies, and the process goes on.
Okay, now I understand.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll have to think about, but this is very interesting for me. Okay, thank you.
Again, these books are available online. That means it's all there. If you just Google life after life or life after death, whatever, at least innumerous authors wrote about it because they are sharing their own experience. And we can learn from their experience about the afterlife and also about previous lifetimes. In ancient Egypt, there's that book they call the Book of the Dead, which again is not the Book of the Dead. That is a mistranslation. The translation would be the Book of the Beyond, or the Book of the After. Yeah, well, maybe the Beyond would be more accurate. The Book of the Beyond. But in our minds, or the minds of those people who saw that book, would describe how the soul departs from the body and goes through the process. Oh, this is the Book of the Dead. No, that's the wrong translation. It should be the Book of the Beyond. Beyond, which means not only from here forward. The beyond is beyond. Yeah, where we go beyond time, where the timeless. Yeah. So the present, the past, and the future is the beyond. Yeah. Now, can we experience what I'm talking about, this spiritual consciousness, while we are here alive? And the answer is yes. We don't have to die in order to go through this process. We can go through this process while we are still in this body. And that is what Kabbalah wants to teach us. We don't have to die in order to become enlightened. Because death is a waste of a lifetime. Yeah. Now these concepts, I'm speaking the very simple language, because these concepts I personally have experienced many, many times. I was not determined as a person who went through clinical death, but I went through my own clinical death many, many times, and came back, and went and came back. Yeah. So once we are able to transcend all this misconception of our physical reality, then we realize who and what we really are, and the meaning of life, the meaning of every moment, of every day. We don't waste time. We don't waste our life. We say, oh, wow, life becomes the most precious thing that we can receive, that we have received. But what to do with this lifetime, the time of life? There are many people who just, bored. They want to, let's go and burn time. Let's burn. No, my friend, when you burn time, you're burning your lifetime. So, yes, our priorities change. But one thing for sure, we become less obsessed with physical reality and physical needs. That doesn't mean that we neglect our physical needs. No, on the contrary. We understand even better our physical needs. We respect even better our body, our health, mental, emotional, physical. We become more aware, more, we appreciate, we become more appreciative of our existence. I have a psychiatrist friend. He's a friend, very good friend. And he laughs and says, if I had known that I would have lived so long, I would have taken care of myself better when I was young. Yes, my friend, yeah. I mean, that's it has a twist, humor to it, but it's very important. Yeah, we're living longer, and we reach an age, we're 80, 90, and we can say, hey, I'm still alive, I still want to live, but all the aches and breaks and all this, my body, my this and that. Why? Yeah, because the person abused his body. How did he abuse his body? Working too much, eating too much, not taking care of the moment. What does it matter? What does it matter? This obsession is killing us as we are still alive. So, there are many advantages. I would like to share with you maybe one or two of my past lifetimes. I went to Egypt. And there I went through a very profound transcendental experience where I remembered, I relived. It's not the memory like, maybe I remember now. I relived many past lifetimes when I was in Egypt. It's more than 3,000 years ago. Egypt exists for tens of thousands of years in our dimension of time. And not only in Egypt, other places also. So as we go through life and we do this inner research, we are searching again, because we already did some research in past lifetimes, but maybe we were not successful. That's why we had to come back, to reincarnate, to do a researching. Okay, search again, but let us not waste another lifetime without finding, because everybody is searching. We're searching for happiness, we're searching for richness, we're searching for fulfillment. My friends, we have to search and find our true self. Once you found your true self, that's it. You are a happy person. You are a self-fulfilled person. But once you are looking at the dark for things that you can never find, hey, this is desperation. Okay. So the meditation that I would like to do with you is a meditation in Hebrew. Hebrew is a transcendental language, but not only Hebrew. Ancient Latin, Sanskrit, even Arabic, even ancient Greek, yes, and other languages. There are many languages that help us to transcend the moments and interact with something or some conscious, not something, but our consciousness, which is eternal and immortal. That's our soul consciousness. Because our soul is pure energy, and pure energy never disappears. It changes its form, but it never disappears. Hey, isn't that a scientific physical equation, formula? Yes, my friends. And this is where the Kabbalah comes in. It unites these two dimensions of our reality, the physical and metaphysical. We follow the same laws. The only thing is that when we talk about scientific terms, we're talking about a physical energy, physical heat. When we talk about metaphysics, we're talking about the spiritual energy. But eventually, they are one. The source of all physical energy is spiritual energy. It is one. Energy is one. The only person, or the only thing that separates between these two realities is the fragmented mind of the human being that is not able to connect the subconscious with the conscious, because our mind is one. Our mind is not fragmented. I have one mind, but this mindfulness, this oneness of my mind, I have to reunite, do my researching to find that place in my mind that I can unite both aspects, or many aspects of my mind. This meditation helps us. In Hebrew, again, it is a phrase from what we call a cosmic code, known as the Anabikor. And it's one phrase that has 6 letters. Ana, Bikoach, Gedulat, Yeminecha, Tatir, Serura. I will say it aloud and you can follow me. And this phrase literally means I call upon you. Again, we're not referring to God. We're referring to the source, the infinite source of cosmic energy. It's not that God that we believe that created the heaven and the earth. No, that's something else. We're referring to the infinite source of cosmic consciousness. And we are awakening the right. What is the right? The right, okay, the right hand, right arm. And the right means the sharing or expansion of consciousness to help us to pay off our cosmic debt. That's what it says. Because our cosmic debt is not paid because of an obstacle. Jaime, you want to you have a question there?
No, I don't.
All right, I'll just mute the microphone. Yeah. So our cosmic debt is this burden that we're carrying that doesn't allow us to interact with our true self. And this phrase helps us to remove this burden. This burden can be, again, depression, sadness, crisis, trauma, whatever it may be, any burden, and reconnect with our true eternal self, our soul consciousness. So let us close our eyes, relax. We can breathe through our nose. As we breathe, release all tension in your body. From your back, shoulders, arms, legs. Allow your body to relax. Feel the tension in your muscles and say, I release all the tension from my body, from my muscles, from the tissues, my organs. Breathe in, inhale, breathe out, exhale. As we are breathing in and out, we want to receive and share the energy, the cosmic energy of compassion, benevolence, loving kindness. That's what we want to receive. Breathe in loving kindness and breathe out and share loving kindness. Breathe in compassion and exhale and share compassion. Allow the cosmic energy to flow through your body, uniting your body with your mind with your soul, and your soul with the infinite source of cosmic energy and abundance. Release all judgments, all criticism, self-judgment. Accept who and what you are, as you are. We are all perfect beings. We are all beings of love. We are all beings of the light. We are all beings of cosmic consciousness and awareness. Share your loving being with others, friends, family, partners, companions. Be who and what you really are. Allow yourself to receive and share unconditionally. And we say together, Ana Bekoa Gedula Yeminecha Katir Tserura. Here we have a cosmic code of the letters Aleph, Bet, Gimel, Yud, Ta, Tzadik in Hebrew, that has a numerical value of unconditional love. This is the key factor. This is the cosmic key code that helps us to open that safe and enjoy the infinite treasure that is being saved there inside the safe. The cosmic key code of unconditional sharing and love, with compassion, with loving kindness. Allow your inner self to appear, to reveal itself. Allow yourself to discover your true inner and eternal self. If you feel that you are carrying a burden, allow yourself to pay off the cosmic debt. To be burden-free, debt-free. Share the wisdom, share your love. And by sharing, we pay off a lot of our cosmic debt. Deep breathing. Wonderful, my friends. I'll count to 3, and then we can open our eyes again. 1, 2, and 3. And we open our eyes. Again, this is just, like an example of meditation, the Hebrew letters. We may need to repeat this meditation many times and even longer. Time, our most precious asset. So if we can at least, once a week, once a day, 4 or 5 minutes, take care of ourselves. I recommend that. I wish us all a very good evening, reminding us all that next week we shall have a lecture, Kabbalah and Prosperity, using also Hebrew letters, Hebrew meditations, mantras, to open these channels of prosperity. It's very important.
Yeah. Thank you.
All right, my friends. Thank you all for being with me tonight.
Thank you very much, Rabbi.
Thank you.
Thank you. God bless. Till next time.
Amen. God
Thank
bless.
you so much.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Thank you.